Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, today I cannot be with you in Sao Paulo, but I thought this short message might help proceedings for today. As you know, and as I have said many times, Brazil truly is a global capital for natural capital. Brazil is a superpower in biodiversity. I think we should recognize also that Brazil is a large country with many corporations and where the corporate sector is a significant part of the economy, and therefore, whatever comes out of Brazil by way of policy or direction or leadership clearly has to have a significant role and a significant part for the corporations. To me, the role of the corporation is much more than just a participant in conservation of biodiversity. It is much more than that because it is about leadership. Commanding 70–80% of the economy and providing even more than that in terms of employment, you are clearly in a position to make change happen. And one of the ways in which this can be done is if companies in Brazil take a view that they wish to have net positive impact on biodiversity. In other words, manage their business in a way such that you avoid the most damaging impacts on biodiversity, you mitigate those which cannot be avoided, and then look to offset some of those where even mitigation is not possible. And at the same time also participate in the overall outreach of understanding and education for people so that the people understand that biodiversity is important wealth of the nation and also critical for well-being and health and indeed the economic success of Brazil. To give you some examples, Brazil already has a significant agricultural economy and it is significantly dependent on the quality of soils and the amount of fresh water that it is receiving from the natural economy, if you like, from biodiversity. And at the same time, Brazil has significant material and mineral wealth, which, if extracted wisely, can add to the economic success of this country. Brazil also has in its forest a massive store, in fact, one of the world's largest stores of carbon. And this carbon storage and sequestration function of the forests of Brazil is going to be, and in fact already is, a significant player in the global effort to mitigate climate change. You would be aware that the government of Norway has committed to Brazil $1 billion towards Brazil's success in reducing its rate of deforestation. This commitment is part of a $4.5 billion commitment made by developed countries towards the developing worlds which have forests on their land. And I hope that these commitments become part of a global scheme called REDD+, which I hope will get formalized as we approach Cancun, a very important point in our negotiations. Whether it is the business of biodiversity for carbon or the business of biodiversity for agriculture or the business of nature in terms of its impact for minerals or indeed some of the cosmetics and pharmaceuticals that are drawn from biodiversity, the reality is that biodiversity adds significantly to the business potential of Brazilian corporations and its leaders, that is all of you, therefore have a role to play in its conservation. We know that the CEOs in Brazil are concerned about the loss of biodiversity. In fact, a study that was done for us in TEEB, in this report here, shows that 53% of the CEOs of Latin American companies that were surveyed were either extremely concerned or somewhat concerned about the loss of biodiversity as a potential risk to their future business. This was the highest percentage of all continents. Other continents such as Asia at 35% and Europe at 15% were in fact much lower. So it is clear that there is an understanding of both the potential as well as the risks and the costs of the loss of biodiversity. I think Brazil can and should provide leadership, and I think you, the CEOs and the corporations of Brazil, have a vital role in providing that leadership. I wish you all the best for today's meeting and its launch, and all success in the future. Thank you.